Well, guys, I hope you guys are doing well. This is another Thursday night live Q&A. First thing is first, cheers to everybody. Tonight I am actually drinking a little craft beer, and this is from Wild Haven Brewery in Georgia, and it's called Invocation. And it is a Belgian style golden ale, and it's a pretty good one tonight. So I'm going to enjoy this one during the live Q&A. Mm, cheers. So tonight I want to break down a couple of catches that I made over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to go over some new lures that I was using that I've never thrown before, and maybe just jump into a couple of other little things. But first of all, I want to go over some exciting news. I got some new hats in. So I got them in three different colors for you guys. If you guys want to take a look at them here, they're in blue, the khaki, and gray. And they're Richardson 112 hats. They're great hats. You guys all know the Richardson 112s. And the patch is it's a custom patch, and the logo is from a local artist here in Myrtle Beach. I hooked up with him. He designed me up a logo, and I really love it. So if you guys want to pick up a hat to support the channel, just send me a message on either Facebook or Instagram, and then I will get back to you with my Venmo information, and you send me your address, and it'll be right off into the mail to you. I'm not setting up any type of a website right now because this is kind of a little bit of a trial to see how the merchandise does. Leave a comment on the hats. I did put up a reel on Instagram and on Facebook. Take a look at them, and let me know if you guys like them or not, and if there's any changes. But this is a very limited run of some high quality hats. They are running $45, but again, they are high quality custom hats with a local artist, one time run. I've only got 25 hats, and I know they're going to go fast because I've already been hit up quite a bit today for people wanting hats. So guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them into the chat box, and I will get to those as you guys send them in. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Let's break down the first one. I'm going to share the screen here. So I was in a redfish tournament a couple of weeks ago, and the weather was really overcast. There were some storms offshore, as you guys can see. Let me throw my cursor up here. It was actually off to the side where you guys can't see. There was some pretty big thunderheads over there, and the rain was like just offshore. I thought I was going to get caught in some pretty heavy rain, but I got up into this little creek, and just off the side here, you're not going to be able to see it because they were a little bit behind me, but as I run this, there was a school of reds behind me. You may be able to see some of the ripples, and now you can kind of see what's kind of happening off to the side. I was only in about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet of water, and that's where I like to hunt my redfish, is 3 feet of water and less. And they were right where they were supposed to be. And again, they were schooled up. There was, I don't even know how many fish were over there. But in the middle of this creek, it was kind of odd. In the middle, you're not going to really be able to see it. But there was an oyster bar that split this creek right in the middle. So it got deep on one side, deep on the other. And that's where those fish were sitting. So let me stop here real quick. These fish were all sitting right here. That oyster bar I was talking about was right here in the middle. So I cast it on the other side of that oyster bar where it got a little deeper. And that's where I picked up this nice little 17-inch redfish. I was throwing the Z-Man Mulletron. This was in Houdini color. And it's a little 3-inch swim bait. And I had it on a 3/16 ounce trout eye, and this mimicked a little bait fish that had been running around the creeks that week. So I had never thrown it before. It was a brand new um, lure that I tried, and that's the fish that I ended up hooking into. Heath, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Glad you could join us tonight. So the redfish, that was actually the only one that I caught all day. I came back to this school a couple different times. I threw everything that I had. I threw a paddle tail, I threw the mulletron again, I threw a shrimp, and that's just how redfish are. Sometimes you can get them to hit, and sometimes they have lockjaw. And I could not get them to hit. Now, I did end up catching 6 flounder, so the flounder bite was just on. I did see some other reds up around some oyster bars way back up into the creek at low tide. I couldn't get them to hit, but you know, that's just how it is. With my 117-inch redfish, I did end up coming in 3rd place, which was really cool. Stephen Trainer and Corey, those two guys, they entered. They got 1st and 2nd. And but yeah, it was a fun day. I'm just glad the rain held off and it never did rain. Hey, I got from Casey Morrison. He said, moving to the area in January, excited to get fishing, love the videos. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so you're going to be moving in January. Hey, the fish are still here in January. It may be a little hit and miss, but I think you'll be right on them. So yeah, welcome to the area. Welcome to the area. So I'm going to go ahead and keep running these and get into scenario number 2. But again, nice little 17-inch redfish. Again, he got me on the board. He got me a 3rd place, and that was a really fun time. So last weekend, I ended up going out, and I went out and it was high tide. So during high tides, I like to hit the flats. And so this is a big flat in Merle's Inlet. And I worked the shoreline pretty much most of the morning. So all back in here, I worked this shoreline with some top water and a new bait that I will show you here in a minute. And I came around this little grass point that's over here, and I was hearing something wrecking some bait fish up in the grass. And that's where these redfish like to push during high tide, is up into the grass, because that's where all of the bait is going to move, because that's where the protection is. So I came around this corner, and up in this little grassy area, I saw a fish working. And I ended up throwing a new bait, and this is a matrix shad. I have never thrown one before. I believe they're very popular, like in Texas and like Louisiana and like the Gulf Coast. And hey, Tim, how you doing? Glad to see you in here tonight. So I met a guy at the landing as I was coming in a couple of weeks ago, and he was a Marine. And he was getting ready to be transferred to Okinawa. So he was on vacation down here for like a week or something like that. And we got to talking, and we swapped some lures in some baits, and he gave me this matrix shad. And this is in, yeah, I think he said avocado. I'm not sure. I'm not real familiar with them. But I put this little matrix shad, it's a little 3-inch shad, on a 1/16 ounce jig head. So it kept that lure right at the top of the water. So I've got that matrix shad on. I don't know if you can see him right there. He's kind of blended in with the grass. But we'll go ahead and let's run this scenario. I end up standing up, and I could see this fish. There was something working right in here. So I made a cast. He didn't go after it, and it was a little bit disappointing. At first, I thought I spooked him. But I ended up going right back almost in the same spot, because I could barely see him. You can see right there, right by that grass. and bang, he took it. He was just kind of sitting right there in that little grass point and just having a good old time feeding on those shrimp and everything that got in there. He ended up measuring at 26 and a half. So a solid redfish right there. Here's the matrix shad hanging out of his mouth with that 1/16 ounce jig head. And I tell you what, he took me on a ride, and you'll actually be able to see this full video in about a week. I'm doing some editing on it right now, but I at least wanted to show you guys, when you get up into these grass areas at high tide, this is where they are sitting. So don't be afraid to push up into this grass, even if you've got to take your drive out or the fins if you're in a Hobie, because I was in about a foot and a half of water up in here, but that's where those reds are hiding out, and that's where I like to go. And even when I left this spot, I kept pushing back up into grass and listening for fish busting bait. So, and that's how I ended up picking up this fish. So again, right there is, I thought I saw him in there. Again, I was back far enough where I could see some movement and I knew it was a fish, but the size, and I had my fingers crossed that it was a red. And I just kind of worked him right along the top, and you could see him wake right after it and take that bait. And you can see him, he was already pulling me in. He was a big old bruiser. He was a fun fish to catch. Hey Henry, how you doing? Russell, good to see you, buddy. So yeah, a lot of fun. So I came out of the flats area, and I was working along this one grass line, and I threw another new lure. This is a Strike King tidal shrimp. I never even knew Strike King was into saltwater. I was at Palmetto State Armory, and I was just doing some shopping and saw this hanging next to the Z-Man shrimp that they had. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I'm intrigued. It almost kind of, the back end almost looks like a little bit of a modified voodoo shrimp. And it definitely has that voodoo weight on the front. You can see that. It's a 1/4 ounce, and it only comes in one weight size that I could find, and that was 1/4 ounce. So as it sat on the bottom, it does sit up nice and tall. And so I ended up throwing this on, and like my second or third cast, I thought I was snagged and ended up catching a fish. And it was actually a pretty nice fish. He kind of drugged me around a little bit. And let me see, am I going to show him? Yeah, there he is. He was a 17-inch flounder. And yeah, and there he is. So I ended up catching either 3 or 4 more flounder on this little tidal shrimp. It held up well, it performed well, and I tell you, I was pretty impressed with it. So if you guys see that Strike King tidal shrimp, pick it up, give it a try. Let me know how you guys do with it. Like I said, I picked up, it was either 3 or 4 flounder. I can't exactly remember. But again, 2 new lures. I think I'm going to order up some more matrix shads and then the Strike King tidal shrimp. So yeah, give those a try the next time you guys are out there. Again, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them down into the chat box. Hey, Captain Bob is on. If you guys don't know about Captain Bob, he's got a radio show that is on Saturday mornings. It's called On the Hook with Captain Bob. And we have, well, I should say he's interviewed me a couple different times, and it's a ton of fun. Captain Bob's a great guy. Really appreciate you. But he is on tonight. He is on So you go to Instagram and Facebook, look him up on the Hook with Captain Bob, and I think he's got links to where his shows are at. Here in the Myrtle Beach area, he's on Carolina Gold, which is 93.9. But I believe, Captain Bob, you need to kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're broadcast in Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston. And he's also on Spotify. So if you happen to miss him Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock, you guys can jump over on Spotify and look up On the Hook with Captain Bob and check him out. But he wanted to know, what shoes am I wearing during the clip? Those are just little Crocs. It's like they're water shoes. Those are the ones I wear during the summertime. I usually wear during the wintertime, spring and fall. I have the NRS Boundary boots, but they're just so hot during the summer that I go to these little Crocs, and I can just wade into the water, and it doesn't hurt my feet at all. So yeah, that's all they are. That's all they are. They were just little cheap Crocs. Weekender, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Switching gears a little bit, do you ever use live croaker for trout? I have never used live croaker for trout. I have caught croaker. I have just never hooked them up and used them for bait for trout. I do know that is like trout candy. I know a lot of these big trout fishermen, especially like in Texas, that's all that I hear about is croaker for trout. So, but no, I have never used croaker for trout. No, never have. Sorry, just something that I've never done before. Henry asked, what area do you prefer to fish, north or south of the boat landing? Really, it doesn't make any difference. There's a lot of times where I'll just flip a coin. There'll be a lot of weeks I'll keep going north, going north, going north, and then I'll switch it up and go south. So really, what do I prefer? Probably north, because it's a larger area. South of the Oyster Recycling Center is a smaller area. 3/4 of Murrells Inlet is to the north of the Oyster Recycling Center. So, if I had only one place to go, which direction, I would definitely go north, because there's more water to explore up that way. So, Weekender said in Mississippi it's a big thing. Yeah, all the Gulf states, I know that croaker and trout are they pretty much go hand in hand. I think there has been some rumblings in Texas about making croaker possibly a game fish. And if that's the case, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If it's a game fish, you can't throw a cast net to them and use them for bait. So if that is true, I know that there's some rumors heading. Some people want to get the croaker out of trout fishing. I don't know anything about it, but that was just some of the little grumblings and stuff that I have heard in Texas. So, night fishing trips. Good to see you. Love being in been in Myrtle Beach a million times. Oh, you've been to Myrtle Beach a million times. Great, great. Yeah, so, hey, it's a growing area. Man, I think I just read the other day that Myrtle Beach is the #1 growing area in the United States. And man, if you drive around here, you know it too. The traffic is just horrible. Just horrible. But we're growing. There's a ton of people moving down here. There's a lot of guys who are, getting into fishing, and especially saltwater fishing, because, they're coming from landlocked states and they don't know anything about it. So, there's plenty of areas to fish from North Carolina and South Carolina. Just get out on the water and have a good time. So Ron, nice to see you. I see that you popped in here as well. Yeah, let me jump in here to one more breakdown. So this is an oyster shoreline right here. We are almost at low tide again. You can see how far it's out. And I believe I was throwing a little voodoo shrimp and only working at maybe about 10 or so feet off of this little shoreline. Now, I don't know if you can see it right now, but this right here, this is a little mud area in between the oyster. So it's almost like a break in that oyster bar. And I love pitching around those areas because that's where those flounder are going to lay, right on that mud. And then just beyond that is a little bit of a creek mouth with a big sandbar right here. So I threw right up into there and ended up hooking a really nice flounder. He took that real nice, and let me see if we can. I missed him with the net a couple of different times, and I know you guys who flounder fish. There's the first miss, yeah. So, but you guys who flounder fish, you guys know that they love to escape the net, and it is sometimes just a chore to get them in here. But yeah, he was a nice fish. Again, the voodoo shrimp. There was a ton of shrimp in this creek area, and again on the other side you can see that's all mud, and those flounder love just laying in the mud because they're ambush predators. So um, Captain Bob asks, on the last red with the 1/16 ounce, what line and leader did you throw? So my braided line, I use J braid, and it's a 10-pound braid. And my leader was on that particular one, it was 12-pound Trilene XL. And that's all I had on it. Maybe about 4 feet of leader line. I'm starting to get a little bit lazy. My leader lines seem to be getting longer and longer and longer, so I don't have to keep retying, cutting off and retying because they get too short. So about 4 feet of trilene mono XL. So Cliff, good to see you in here. Good to see you in here. I seem to have no confidence in artificials during the hot summer months. Ah, okay. So with that much bait around, and especially the water temps, any tips? Yeah, absolutely. So last weekend when I was out, the water temperature, I had it at about 84 degrees, and I think it may have tipped 85 degrees. And, you know, that's starting to get really, really hot. These fish during the summer months, there's a couple of things that I look for, and so these fish are going to be looking for a couple of different things. When the water gets hot, I'm trying to get my thoughts all all squared away for you, Cliff. So when the water starts getting really hot, the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water goes down. So these fish are going to be looking for cooler areas and current. So anytime that you can find some good current area, that means there's going to be more oxygenated water in that area, and deeper water. So deeper water is going to be relative. If these fish are living in 3 feet, they may move to 4 feet of water because that's the deeper side, or 5 feet or 7 feet. They're going to move in and try to find any type of relief from the warmer waters. Even if it's a degree or two, they are going to try to find that. That's why reds during the summertime, they'll love getting under docks because docks will provide shade, and wind-blown banks will cool down some water faster than if they're still water getting baked by the sun. Almost think about yourself when you're outside. If you're out into the baking sun sitting on the beach wide open just in a chair, it's hot. That sun is baking down on you. But if you move under an umbrella you can feel that temperature change. You know, it feels a little bit better, even though it may only be a degree or two cooler. You know, that's what you're looking for, and that's what those fish are looking for also. So, current and deeper water or deeper holes are where these fish are going to be hiding during these hot summer months. Now, as far as artificial go and confidence, that is going to come down to you and just throwing them and getting confidence in them. When there are fish in the area, usually they are feeding and ready to go. In my experience, during the middle of the day, during the summer, I'm going to say 1 to like 4 o'clock. I mean, we're talking the heat of the day. These fish are going to be hard to catch. They're going to be lethargic. They're not going to want to move around. They're not going to want to sprint and chase down food. And, you know, it's just like me. When I'm out in the hot sun, I don't want to eat a big, heavy meal, you know, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, my prime time to go during the summer to catch fish is early in the morning, knowing that bite is probably going to shut off by about 11 o'clock, and then late in the afternoon. Now we're probably talking, you know, 5, 6 o'clock. Once that sun starts to get lower, you know, things start to kind of cool and calm down a little bit. Those are going to be my two times. But my prime time to go is early in the morning during the summertime, because those waters have had all night to cool down, and maybe a tidal change, you know, low to high tide, and push in a little bit cooler water from the ocean back into the creeks. So, Cliff, just get some confidence, go out there, throw paddle tails and shrimp imitations. Those are going to be the ones that they're going to hit on the most, and just keep throwing them until you get that confidence. Night fishing tip said, I'm in the St. Augustine, Florida, and I flounder fish at night. That's really cool. Caught a 20-inch flounder. Yeah, nice. I've never done any like technical night fishing, like completely dark, 10 o'clock at night. I've never done it. I need to. I've been wanting to do like dock fishing at night, but just never have done it. So, Russell, good to see you. Will water pouring from a creek area be hotter when the tide is falling or cooler? Okay, yeah. So if it's high tide and the tide switches around and it's starting to move out, yes, back in those creeks, that is where the water is going to be the warmest. Okay, it's going to be baking in that shallow water back in those creeks for, you know, 6 hours during, you know, a tidal switch. So yes, absolutely. So when it's dumping out of those creeks, yes, the water is going to be warmer, but there also may be current, and at that creek mouth there may be a deeper hole. So, you know, the cooler water will settle and the warmer water will go over the top. But yes, the water is warmer, and then as the tide switches around and starts to come in, it will be a little bit cooler on the incoming tide. So yes, you're exactly right. It will be hotter on the falling tide. The Weekender, night fishing, live bait or artificial. Again, I have never night fished. Maybe night fishing trips, maybe you can comment on that. But I do know that guys throw artificials during the night. I know I watch Captain C.A. Richardson, and he does some dock fishing at night, and he's thrown under lights, and he throws like Z-Man right underneath there, and he catches snook. So yeah, I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. So Isaac, how you doing? Is it worth fishing Murrells Inlet docks in mid-August? Yeah, absolutely. I know some guys who do a lot of sheepshead fishing in Murrells Inlet. Not only just the jetties around the rocks, but they have their favorite old docks that have a lot of barnacles and oysters and stuff, on those pilings, and they will hit their favorite docks, and sometimes they'll scoot up onto that dock with their kayak and kind of scrape a little bit of the barnacle off and almost kind of chum the water for sheep's head. But yes, dock fishing, absolutely, it is worth um, trying some docks. Don't spend too much time at one dock. Give it 5 or 10 minutes. Pick that dock apart. And if you're not getting anything, move on to the next one. If there's a feeding fish there, he'll hit it pretty quickly. So don't spend, 30, 40 minutes on one dock. Hit it, pick it apart, hit all the little pilings, get back up as far as you can, work the bottom, do what you can, and then move on to the next one. But yeah, flounder, redfish, sheep's head, they're around the docks, absolutely. Alex, nice to see you. He jumped in. He's got a question. Said, I typically like and am familiar with fishing back creeks. What's your approach when fishing low or large areas in general to locate fish, like the Wando River? Okay, yeah, absolutely. I love fishing the Wando River. So when I do big, large areas, I will first map it out like on Google Earth. I try not to just go in cold turkey and just launch and just, holy cow, because it can be overwhelming, the size of an area. So, I know I'm going to, let's just say, the Wando River. I know I want to go to one particular area. So I start looking for all the little creek drains. I'll start out, especially this time of the year, with a top water like a Head and Spook Junior, or I've got, sorry about that. I know I'm out of your range here, but this is the Moonwalker from Salt Strong. I like the pencil style top waters first thing in the morning. And on large areas, a lot of these will have the grass line. So I will work a pencil style top water along the grass line, and just kind of blind cast and see if there's anything working. And as I'm doing that, I am also looking for any bait that's being blown up or any type of activity, and then I'm moving to those areas. And then when I come to a creek drain, I'll either push up into that creek and do that, but I'm looking for really any type of structure on large areas. And structure can be oysters, deep holes, docks, grass lines, anything that is going to allow these fish to move into a little bit different environment. So that's what when I'm talking structure, that's kind of what I'm looking for and talking about. So these large areas usually have that structure there. It may not have docks, but it'll have oyster, grass, definitely deep holes, creek mouths. Those are the areas I'm looking for. I don't fish like in the middle of a large area, unless I'm seeing fish activity with them blown up on bait, almost like a big school. That I don't do that. I stick on the outsides where the structure is. So that's how I approach it. Again, somebody else may be a little bit different. They may have a honey hole inside this large area. But if I'm going there for the first time, that's how I break it down. So I hope that was helpful. Night Fishing said, I only use artificial, unfair lure, and Z-Man. So he uses artificials night fishing. So Isaac also said, I fish from a native slayer max 10. How does your propel? Yeah, my pedal drive doing saltwater. It does great. I love my pedal drive. I'm in a Hoodoo Impulse 120 with the pedal drive. And now that I've had the pedal drive, I don't think I will ever have a fin drive kayak. Now, if if Hobie approaches me and says, "Hey, listen, we're gonna give you, a Hobie Outback," and yeah, okay, fine. But if I'm spending my hard-earned money, and this is only my opinion, I like the pedal drive, and here's the reason why. It has instant reverse. So when I get into a fish, I can back my way out of it instantly. I don't have to take my hands off the rod. I don't have to pull a cord. I don't have to, if it's a unidirectional drive, I don't have to pop it out, turn it around, put it back in, do it to go backwards, pop it out, put it back in to go forward. There's none of that. It is truly hands free with a pedal drive, and I love it. If I'm in any type of current and I have to hold a position, I can go forward, I can back up a little bit, I can keep myself and adjust, I mean, instantly. So my my prop drive, my pedal drive works excellent in saltwater. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, it's a really good question. Really good question. So again, guys, it's been, gosh, man, time has flown. It's been over a half hour. I like to keep it kind of short, but as long as you guys are asking questions, we'll stay here as long as you want. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, if you guys want to check out the new hats that I've got, go to Instagram. Again, it's a very limited run of these hats. I've got 3 colors that I ran, a blue, a gray, and a khaki. They are $45 a piece, and there's only 25 hats. It's a custom patch, and they're Richardson 112 hats with a custom patch. And the actual logo is from a local artist that I hooked up with, and he came up with the design. We worked out some kinks with the logo. I really liked it. They came out great. And again, this is just a very limited run of 25 hats. And then I think I'm going to change it up again, but I know they're going to go quick because I have been hit up. I put out like a little, I'm going to say, commercial to advertise these hats earlier this afternoon, and I've already gotten several hits. So guys, if you're looking to get a hat and support the channel, I really appreciate it. But you may have to move kind of fast because I really have a feeling these are going to go quick. So if you want one, hit me up on Facebook and Instagram. Just send me a message. I'm not setting up any type of a website. If you message me, I will send you my Venmo information, and you send me your address, and bang, it's in the mail, and you got it. Okay? So that is it, guys. I really appreciate you, and we'll do this again. I usually always kick out the next date here, so let's look in 2 weeks again. 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be August. Shit. Let's do August the 8th. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yes, August the 8th will be our next live Q&A. So guys, I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. You guys all have a great night. Thank you very much.